Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me again for this power vinyasa flow. So just to describe what that is, power meaning that we're working on strength and flexibility at the same time, and generally means we don't hold each pose for too long, and vinyasa to mean that things link together. So if you've done my classes before, they're pretty much all vinyasa in the way that we move from one to the next in sort of a nice sort of fluid motion. So we're going to start today in child's pose. So if you want to bring yourself with your knees about as wide as your mat, your big toes to come to touch behind you, sit your bum to your heels, and then walk your hands away. Allow your forehead to come to the floor, and just give yourself a moment to settle in here, to feel nice and heavy through the hips. The head press down against the mat, and then take a nice deep breath in and a slow breath out. And then continue your breath just like this, allowing the inhales to fill the chest and the exhales to soften the body. Maybe start to allow your fingertips to crawl a little further away from you, making that child's pose a little bit more active. Maybe you want to stack the hands up onto fingertips as you start to feel that opening into the upper body, the shoulders, the chest, the armpit. With each breath in, feel your body growing wider. And with each breath out, allow your body to stay nice and heavy down towards the mat. Great, we'll take one more breath in here. And then on the exhale, walk your hands off the right side of the mat. Allow your chest to come towards your right knee and really elongate those fingers away from you. There's the option to stay as you are here, or perhaps your left hand wants to hold on to your right, and then give it a little pull so that you can really feel that length and that activation down the left side of the body. Trying to keep the left side of the pelvis nice and heavy down towards your heels, and then breathe into that side. Breathe out as you soften. One more, inhale. And then the exhale walks you all the way via the centre and straight over to the other side, over to the left, torso towards the left thigh. Same options, either hands stay as they are, or your right hand can hold your left. Feel like you're pulling against it slightly. It takes the stretch a little further up towards your tricep if you manage that, and puff your body out in the direction of that rib cage. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale to fold. Great, last one, breathing in. And then breathing out to come back to the centre, and then walking your hands in until you're upright onto your shins. Just bring your knees towards each other, sitting yourself nice and tall, and then taking your arms in front of you with the elbows and the palms touching, lifting your elbows to be about in line with your shoulders. From here, with a deep breath in, open the arms like a book. Lift your chest and gaze as you squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. As you exhale, right arm on top of left. Give yourself a big hug. Pull your chin to your chest as you round your back and push your spine out behind you. Breathing in, open those arms, squeeze through the shoulder blades, lift through the rib cage. Exhale, left arm on top. Give yourself that hug, hollow out the belly. Again, inhale to open. Exhale, right arm on top. Give yourself that big hug. Inhale, opening, lifting. And exhale to close off as you round. Great, last one. Breathing in. And breathing out to give yourself that big hug. Push your spine backwards. Feel that stretch in the back body. And then undo your arms and bring yourself up to stack onto the knees and send your right leg out onto the floor beside you. Toes point forwards. Right arm rests onto that leg. Inhale, left arm to the sky. And as you exhale, a little lean out towards that right side. Take the gaze under the left armpit. Keep the tailbone slightly tucked as you push your hips forwards. Lengthen all the way down towards that left hip bone. Breathe in. And then breathing out, you're going to sit yourself back towards that left heel. Your right toes turn towards the sky. Keep this length in your body and let your hands come forwards. So it's a little bit like child's pose in this left leg, but obviously this right leg feels quite different. getting into that hamstring, into that inner thigh. Press the heel away, pull the toes back, and keep lengthening your torso. Holding here, breathing in and breathing out. Good. Use your inhale to rise up towards tabletop, but leave that leg out beside you. And then we're going to find some lifts of this right leg for 5 pulses. So keep it as straight as you can. We're going to lift towards the sky for 1, little tap of the floor. For 2, lifting again. For 3, maybe watch it, give it some encouragement. For 4, and then 1 more for 5. Hold it in the sky. Push that heel away from you. And then sweep the leg to the back of the mat, keep it lifted, reach those toes out backwards, keep your chest nice and tall. From there, let the foot find the floor, the ball of the foot onto the mat, press the heel backwards, find that length, that stretch in the back of the right leg, and then drawing your left knee up towards your chest. So press into the arms, broaden through the shoulder blades, and think of squeezing the knee as close to your chest as you can. Strong start, hollow out that belly, engage your core, breathe in. And then as you breathe out, you're going to place your knee down on the left side of the mat. The shin is going to go diagonal, so your foot is more onto the right side. And then drop your back knee down as we lower into pigeon. So your back leg can wriggle away from you until you find the stretch into this outer left hip. Once you've got it, you can let yourself come down to your forearms if you like to deepen the stretch. But remember, the body is still relatively cool. We're not particularly warm yet, although you might feel that your heart rate has lifted slightly. So don't be expecting it to be a super deep stretch. Just find that sensation in that outer left hip and think of your body sinking down towards the mat. One last inhale, chest pulls forwards. And then exhale to walk your hands back in so your chest is nice and upright. Sit your bum towards the left side of the mat, sweep your right leg round to the top, and then just readjust so the sole of your left foot matches the inner thigh of your right leg. Use your inhale, lengthen out that lower back, reach your arms high and pull your toes back towards you. And as you exhale, let your body fold forward. And again, we're still relatively cold. Don't expect your body, not that it always gets that close, don't expect your body to get too close to your leg. Think of it more like a halfway lift. Chest is going to reach forwards. Sit bones are trying to scoot out behind us as we keep the spine nice and long. You don't have to be able to reach the toes. You can use a yoga strap if you have one, or just hold your calf if you have neither of those available to you. Press the back of the thigh down, keep your chest lifting. Breathe in. And then breathing out, draw that leg in. Either turn the legs around or roll yourself over onto your knees and then stack yourself up tall, coming to our second side. So left leg, kick it out beside you. Toes face forwards, in line with this knee, left arm onto that leg. Breathe in, send the right arm to the sky. Breathing out a little, lean towards the left, gate pose. Keep the tailbone tucked as the hips push a little forwards and send the gaze under that right armpit. Pull the arm towards the sky, breathing in. And then breathing out. Sit your bum back towards that right heel. Turn the left toes and the knee to face the sky. Keep this length in the lower spine area and exhale to walk your hands forwards. A little bit of that child's pose hybrid again. Deep inhale to expand into your torso. Pressing the back of that heel down against the floor. Noticing a deeper stretch as you do so. Breathe in and breathe out. Good. Use the inhale to press yourself up towards tabletop, leaving that leg stuck out beside you. We're going for our 5 pulses. So lifting the leg for 1, press away through the heel. A little tap, lifting it for 2, for 3, keep going for 4, and then we're going to hold the last rep. Lift that leg, squeeze that left glute, and then sweep the leg to the back of the mat. Keep it lifted, reach through the toes, keep your chest pulling forwards. From there, drop the ball of the foot down to the mat. Press the heel backwards, find that stretch in the back of the left calf, squeezing through the quad, and then strong through the arms to press down and let your right knee float up towards your chest. Thigh towards belly, knee towards chest, and keep your chest pulling forward so we're keeping length within the body. Holding, inhale. And then exhale, place the knee down towards the right side of the mat. The shin goes diagonal as we come towards pigeon. Drop the back knee and wriggle that back leg away from you as much or as little as you need to find that outer right hip stretch. You can then choose, if you wish, to go down to forearms, or you can just stay up onto the hands. Give this whole front shin a push down into the floor. Imagine you're trying to rise up and away from it, and that should again intensify that stretch into your hip. 2 more breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. 1 more, breathing in and breathing out. Walk your hands back in, sit your bum towards the right side and swing your left leg to the top of the mat, sole of the foot to face the inner thigh. From there, focus on that lower back area or sort of midsection again. Breathe in and pull your rib cage tall. And as you breathe out, send your hands forwards to either hold the toes or hold the calf or use your strap. Lots of options depending on where you are. Think of your shoulder blades drawing towards each other. Your heel presses forwards and the back of the thigh roots down towards the mat. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, compress the body a little closer to the leg. And then 1 more, breathing in. And breathing out, releasing your foot. Bring both feet onto the mat in front of you. First, hold the back of the thighs and sit yourself nice and tall, and notice the engagement you have to use in your belly to go from just simple seated to pulling your chest up, and maintain that firmness through your core. Tiptoe the toes back towards you until they start to float and you find yourself in this supported boat pose. From there, keep those shins lifted. Hands are going to come together in front of your chest and you're going to aim to keep your chest and thumbs in line. Breathe in, lift the chest. As you breathe out, twist your body towards the right as you reach your left toes away from you. If you can get around that thigh, great, but there's a lot of difference between thumbs and chest there. So inhale back to center. Exhale, twist to the left, reach those right toes away from you. Inhale, center, keep the shins lifted. Exhale, twist towards the right. Inhale, center, look towards those toes. Exhale, twist to your left, reach your right toes out. Good, 1 more each side. Inhale, lift, be happy about it. Exhale, twist to the right, left toes move away. Inhale, center. Last one, guys. Exhale, twisting towards your left. Good, cross your legs in front of you, so it should be your right shin that's in front, switch them around if they're not. Wiggle your feet a little further away from one another so they're towards the edges of the mat, and maybe if you've got more room in your hips, move your bum back a little bit as well. Inhale, pull the arms to the sky, lengthen the torso. Exhale to fold forwards. Chin falls towards your chest, arms stay elongating out in front of you. Give the sides of your feet a little press down against the floor. Inhale, inflate. Exhale, soften. 1 more, breathing in. And breathing out. Great. Walk your hands back in towards you. Tuck your heels close in towards your bum. See if you can roll yourself over your knees. Hands onto the mat, and then we'll make our way into down dog. So tuck those toes under behind you, lift through your knees, lift through your hips, send the thighs backwards, send the chest backwards, broaden those shoulder blades as you solidify into your upper body and press everything backwards to lengthen into the back body. Use those inhales, sit bones rise. Exhales, the head, the face remain soft, remain heavy. Again, breathing in and breathing out. Great, so from here with your right leg, inhale, send that leg to the sky for a 3-legged dog. Keep that leg very, very strong in the sky. We're now going to walk our hands to the back of the mat, keeping that leg lifted. So we're coming towards a forward fold on one leg, technically a standing split. Keep lifting that leg, option for your left hand to hold your left ankle to give yourself a little pull. Keep those toes pulling towards the sky. Take a deep breath in. And then breathing out, walk your hands back where they came from, coming towards plank pose. Then draw the knee under the body. See if you can tap your knee and nose together and place your foot between the hands at the top of the mat. Drop the back knee to the floor, keep the toes tucked under behind you. And as you breathe in, lift the chest, send the arms up and over, palms come to meet above you. Squeeze through those left glutes to drive the hips forward and down. Lift the rib cage away from the hips and send the arms towards or perhaps even beyond your ears. Holding here as you breathe in. And then breathing out, hook your elbows to the outside of your thighs. You're twisting towards your right. Press your hands together to help the chest turn, taking your gaze over your right shoulder, but keep your hips driving forwards and down. Drawing the belly in, making space for this twist. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, breathe in. And then undo your twist as you breathe out, hands down to the mat. Wiggle this front foot a little wider towards the right hand side and untuck your back toes. This time the front foot is going to turn out a little bit, about 45 degrees outwards. Twist your torso again towards your right side and then use your right hand to push the knee away from you as you open into this right hip. Think pigeon when you do this. It's the same muscle you're trying to stretch, this external rotation. Sink the left side of the pelvis down towards the floor and press the knife edge of this foot down into the mat. You can stay here or inhale, right arm goes up and over as you bend your back knee and see if your hand can come to find the foot. If you find it, give it a pull in towards your bum and say hello to your quad muscles. Breathe in, broaden across your chest. Breathe out, keep sinking through the hips. One more inhale. And then release the foot as you exhale, hands down to the floor. Step your foot back into down dog, hips go high to the sky. 2 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, draw a nice deep breath all the way in, slow and controlled. And slow on the way out. This time it's the left leg. Inhale to the sky for a 3-legged dog. Reach and keep it strong. Squeeze those left glutes. We're then walking the hands to the back of the mat until we're folded over this right leg. Option to hold the ankle. You can always keep a little micro bend in the knee if you need to. It's about strength in the top leg to reach towards the sky. Standing split, breathe in. And then breathing out to walk your hands forwards towards plank. Draw the leg underneath the body. See if your knee and nose can tap together. And then place the foot between the hands. Drop the back knee to the floor. Keep the toes tucked under. And use a nice deep breath in to lift your torso away from your thigh. Bring your hands together above your head. And open into your chest and belly. Squeeze those right glutes. Drop through the hips. And think of lengthening all the way from your kneecap up towards your elbows. Inhale. Exhale. And then focus on the right side. Breathe in, get longer. And then exhale, send that elbow to the outside of the knee. Twisting to look over the left shoulder. Press the elbow into the thigh to help the torso rotate. And hold your belly in firm. Lengthen out through your chest as you breathe in. And keep turning as you breathe out. Great, hands then come down to the mat. Wiggle your left foot a little wider, turn the toes outwards and untuck your back toes. Roll onto the little toe edge, so lift the big toe side of your foot. Turn your chest towards the left and use your left hand to encourage that thigh away from you. Think of leaning back away from your legs. There's as much distance as you can between chest and knee. Option to stay here or breathe in. Left arm goes up and over to find that foot behind your back and give it a nice encouragement in towards your bum. Keep turning, breathe in. Keep sinking the hips, breathe out. Lovely, last one, inhale. And exhale, letting it go, bringing your hands back to the mat and stepping back into down dog. Taking a couple of breaths, lengthening out, thinking of the crown of the head rising away from the mat, drawing the belly in, creating strength for that fold. And then from here, we're going to move relatively quickly between a down dog and a lizard lunge, just to find some dynamic movement in the hips. So less yabbering, more moving. Inhale, right leg to the sky, three-legged dog. As you exhale, you're going to try and step that foot to the outside of your right hand. Sink your hips, lift your chest, look forwards, and then exhale, send it straight back, down dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky, same on the other side. Exhale, step it forwards and wider than the hand. Sink through the hips, press out through the back heel, lift the chest. Good, stepping it back, down dog. Right leg again, inhale, lift it. This time as you come to step forward, see if you can just hover your foot for a moment before placing it down, harder than it looks. Breathe in, look forwards. Breathing out, step it back. Left leg, inhale to the sky. Exhale, come to step forward. See if you can just hover it off the floor for a moment before releasing it down. Lift the chest. Exhale, step it back. One more each side, guys. Keep moving. Breathe in, leg to the sky, right leg. Exhale, step it forwards. Widen the hand. I forgot the hover. Well done if you did it. Step it back. One more left side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bring forward. See if we can take the hover and then place it down. Good, stepping it back, drop your knees to the mat, let yourself come towards child's pose. You can either leave your arms out or your arms come alongside your body. Just give yourself a moment to get your breath here before we use that technique to move on to something a little different. So rise your way back towards tabletop and then make your way back in towards down dog. We're going to work using that movement towards lizard to work into an arm balance called EPK2. So I want you to make your down dog a tiny little bit shorter and don't over egg it because you make it too hard. So you're in a shortened downward facing dog. So we're going to go right leg first. Inhale, send it to the sky. This time as you exhale and bring it forwards, let the knee cock out to the side a little bit. You're going to take the inner thigh towards the back of your tricep. You're going to bend your elbows and go forwards. You can let your left hip rest onto your left elbow and see if that back leg can leave the floor. If you find a moment of balance, see if you can put the foot back down and then press your way back into down dog. So maybe that worked, maybe it didn't. Let's try it on the left side. We're going to have a second go, so don't worry if you felt like you didn't get long enough to try there. So left leg, inhale to the sky. Exhale, coming forwards. Think about stepping into lizard just as we did. Cock that knee out wide. Let the inner thigh come to the back of the tricep. Go forwards and down, and maybe that back leg can fly. Step it back. 2 feet to the back of the mat, down dog. Maybe if you need, let yourself rest down onto your knees for a minute. Give yourself a child's pose. If you've got more energy, more strength, give it another go. I'm going to guide us through one more attempt in just a moment. Breathe in. Breathing out, rise your way back into the down dog. Remember, a very slightly shorter down dog is going to help you here. Remembering we're taking the inner thigh and not the knee to the tricep. It's not like crow where it's knee to tricep, it's inner thigh. So, and also if you have to use that second hip, go ahead, do it. It's a great modification. Hopefully one day we'll build the strength in the obliques to not need that second hip. So right leg, inhale, lifting it up. Exhale, drawing it forwards, cock the knee wide, inner thigh to the back of that right tricep, and then it's forwards and down. Your nose gets very, very close to the floor. Reach out through your back toes. See if you can step both feet back and into down dog. Left leg, let's see how it goes. Breathe in, lift it up. Breathe out, cock the knee wide, shift the weight forwards, find the back of the tricep, go forwards and see if you can find some float. Good, step both feet back, drop the knees down. And if you're anything like me, you need a couple of breaths in child's pose to recover. Let your forehead rest against the floor. Take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. Again, breathing in and breathing out. Let's keep going, guys. Bring ourselves back up into down dog. Lengthen out the armpits, press those hips backwards. And then taking your gaze forwards, just beyond your fingertips. We're going to take a little jump forwards into our yogi squat, into Malasana. So we're going to aim our feet to land wide and the toes to point outwards. Land as lightly as you can, light as a feather, and then your hips sink down towards your heels. You lift your chest and your hands to come together, using your elbows to drive the knees wider. If you're struggling to get your heels down in this pose, you can stay onto the balls of the feet with the heels lifted. You're just going to want your feet a little more narrow, or you can prop something under your heels, such as a yoga block or a blanket or something, to give your hips that little bit of extra help here. So keep that chest pulling tall. We're going to work into some binds around the leg, and as far as binds go, this is one of the most accessible shapes to find it in. So let's be optimistic and see how we go. Right arm is going to reach out, fingertips going in line with toes, arm on the inside of the knee. Inhale, left arm to the sky. On the exhale, send that arm in the sky down towards your right bum cheek. This right arm is going to see if it can go around the front of the shin to find the bind. Now, if it's not quite there for you, you can use a strap, a tie, a scarf, anything you have to bridge the gap, even just a spare t-shirt or something, to help your shoulders get used to this shape and eventually work to the point where you don't need assistance. Keep the chest turning, keep the gaze up and the hips nice and heavy. Inhale. And then undoing that as you exhale back towards center, sit nice and level, and then to the left side. So sweep that left arm, inner thigh, out towards the left side. Breathe in, right arm reaches up, gaze goes high. Drape that arm over your lower back and find your left bum cheek. Then the left arm hooks around the shin to see if you can find those fingers. Keep the weight back towards the heels as best you can, driving the knees away from each other. Holding here, inhale. And then undo as you exhale. So from here, you can use your hands for balance. I want you to wiggle your feet a little bit more narrow and turn your toes to start to face forwards, but feet are still going to stay about hip distance apart. From there, take your hands to the mat behind you and walk your hands back. The fingertips can point away from each other until you come into a reverse tabletop. So making sure you've walked far enough away so that your shoulders are on top of your wrists. Tuck that tailbone and try to flatten out the front line of the body and press down into the big toe sides of your feet. Take a deep breath in, puff your chest to the sky. And as you breathe out, sit your bum down to the mat. Give yourself a moment. We're going to come back into that shape and then make things a little jazzier. If at any point it feels not accessible for you, I want you just to hold that shape the way that we've just been doing. So take those hands again. I find fingers pointing outwards gives me that little bit better strength and balance here. So inhale, lift your hips to the sky. Aim for that flat top body. And then exhale, think of sitting back down, but we're turning it into a balance. You're going to take your right hand, see if you can tap your left toes in the sky before placing down, lifting your hips back to the sky. Exhale, sit your bum down, left hand, right toes to the sky. Leg doesn't have to be straight, don't worry about that. Take them back down, push the hips to the sky. Good, sinking the hips, left toes, right hand, so it's opposite arm, opposite leg. Inhale, lift the hips back. Exhale, sink them down, little tap. Keep moving side to side, guys. You can go at your own pace here. Sinking down, right hand, left toes. We'll do one more each side. Remember to lift your hips in between the two to get that strength building into the back body. Last one, if you're with me, your right hand, left toes, and then sit your bum onto the mat. A well-deserved little sit down. So from here, have your feet a little further out in front of you, so it gives you just some space here. Hands come behind you just to support the body. Then we're taking the left ankle over the right thigh and flexing that foot, keeping your knee moved away from you. And if you've got more space, more flexibility in your hips, you can bend that right knee a little further, making sure your bum stays onto the mat. We've done all the bum lifting that we need to do here. And essentially we're thinking of bringing the shin as close to the chest as we can as we stretch into that left hip. So push the knee away, press the ankle into the thigh and lift through your chest. Breathing in, breathing out. Take one more, breathe in and breathing out. Great, so just step your right foot a little bit further away from you to release the tension out of the stretch. You're going to interlace the hands and take hold of this left foot. As you then press the heel away from you, it doesn't matter if the leg straightens or not, we're moving into this hamstring stretch. You can then step that right foot a little further in, reach those toes to the sky, lift through your chest and find that stretch into your left hamstring. You want to try and prioritise your left thigh being close to your belly. So if that means doing this with a bent leg, then go for it. I'm sure you feel it in the back of that leg, nice and long through your body. Pull the shoulder blades towards each other, broaden your chest, breathe in. And breathing out. So we're going to turn this into a little bit of a funky balance pose. So keep hold of the foot, however you're holding it, with your right hand. You're going to twist your chest to look towards the left as your left arm reaches out behind you. Now let your body weight tip just a tiny little bit backwards. It doesn't have to go far for your right leg to then be able to extend away from you. So it's like a twisted boat hamstring stretchy thing. Keep that leg reaching, top leg pushes towards the sky and turn your chest towards the side. Holding it, try to enjoy it, breathing in and breathing out. Good, releasing, letting those feet come back down onto the mat as we try all that fun and games on the other side. So lean yourself back, right ankle crosses over left thigh. Push the knee away from you, press the ankle into the leg, keep your chest nice and tall. Sit bones stay to the floor, option to bring that left foot closer to you to deepen into the stretch. Think of drawing the belly button out away from the pelvis, lengthening the torso. Breathing out, maybe deepening or just staying as you are depending on how it feels for you at this moment. Breathing in. And breathing out. Great. Just release the tension a little bit, step that left foot slightly away, interlace the hands around this top foot and then kick the heel towards the sky. Finding this long body, long leg, an option to step that left foot a little closer in once you've got there. Think of pressing the back of the thigh down towards the mat to work the leg either towards straight or to activate that hamstring stretch a little deeper. Pulling the chest nice and tall and keeping the belly and the thigh as close together as we can. This time, keep hold with the left hand, your right arm, twist towards your right and reach towards the back of the mat. You can take your gaze with it as well. From there, the weight shifts just a little bit further back to allow that left leg to float. And by float, it's not going to do it by itself. It's hard to hold that leg up. Keep reaching out through the toes, reach out through the fingertips, hold and twist, breathe in. Breathing out. Last one, inhale. And then exhale, come towards center. You're going to cross your legs. This time, left shin comes in front. Wiggle those feet a little bit wider towards the edges of the mat. And as before, you might be able to pick your bum up and move it further away from your feet as well. Inhale, reaching towards the sky. Exhale to fold. Hands onto the mat in front of you. Chin falls towards your chest. And your chest falls towards your shins. Good, take a nice deep breath in. And a slow breath out. And then walking your hands all the way back in, sitting yourself upright. And then this time, sending your legs off wide, off the sides of the mat. And as you do that, try not to use your arms for help. Lift your legs, send them where they can on their own, rather than sort of picking your leg up and putting it somewhere that you don't have the strength to control. So mobility, that is, it's being able to move into a range of flexibility. So from there, the toes and the knees to point towards the sky, so you might want to just roll the fleshy part of your thighs inwards, thinking of lengthening this lower part of the body, breathing in, reach to the sky, keep that length, and as you breathe out, your fingertips can either come to the mat in front of you, but if that's a little bit too much for your flexibility, we're not quite there, take your hands just behind your hips instead. And use the inhale to sit taller, finding that straight spine, because that might be your edge. And if you've got perhaps a little bit more to give, you can use those fingertips to hinge your body forwards. Keep pressing the backs of the thighs down towards the mat, push away through the heels and flex back through the toes. Lengthening out your spine, breathe in. Finding that fold, breathing out. Again, to breathe in. And to breathe out. Good, sit yourself nice and tall. Bring your feet onto the mat in front of you and just make sure you have some space behind you. Feet are hip distance apart, arms to reach forwards, and then a tucked tailbone, a rounded spine, chin to the chest. Slowly roll yourself down onto your back. Let your shoulders and your head find the floor, and then giving your knees a little squeeze in towards your body. Make yourself a small ball, and then just a little rock from left to right on your back, just to give yourself the feeling of that momentum, because we're about to use it again in a moment in a different pose. So from here, take hold of your knees and widen your thighs away from each other, knees pulling high up towards the armpits. Then sending the soles of the feet to the sky. If you're a happy baby, reach up, holding onto the heels or the toes or the ankles, something to bind hold of, and then place the shoulders and the back of the head back down onto the floor. Use the strength in the arms to deepen the bend of the knees, and keep thinking of rooting your lower back and your pelvis back down onto the mat. Resist that urge to roll the hips up and away. The toes stay moving towards the top end of the mat. Use your strength to pull the knees down. So from here, you can start again to find that momentum. Slightly rocking from left to right, using the strength in your core to control it. And then maybe seeing if you can go as far as rolling to one side to let the knee tap to the floor. And then using that strength to roll back and over to the other side. And again, so I guess this is easier for those with more flexibility because your knee is already a lot closer to the floor. So don't worry if you're completely flopping into a crumple on one side. Just have some fun with it. Find some movement. Making sure I'm not squishing my mic, sorry there. And just allow your body to then roll back to center. From there, let your feet come together. The knees are going to stay wide. You'll probably need to curl your shoulders off the mat to interlace your hands and cup your feet to bind yourself to your feet. Now sink those shoulders back down against the floor, and the back of the head as well. Pull your feet in towards your hips and then use the strength of the tension that you've created here to drive your knees away from you. So it's like that diamond-shaped legs that we sometimes make seated or otherwise, but we're using that tension of pulling the feet towards the body to help engage the hips to drive them wide. Keep nice and strong here. It's a really active stretch. You've got to work for it the whole time. Take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. And then one more, breathing in and breathing out. Good, releasing, let the feet pop away from you. Hug those knees back in towards your chest, and this time find some momentum forwards and backwards until you can roll yourself up to seated. So we're going to have a little go at some inversion practice. So I'm going to guide us through a tripod headstand. If you have other inversions that you'd rather practice right now, go ahead, you've got the time. I'm going to guide us into a tripod headstand. So we're going to place the hands like we would for a plank, shoulder width apart, and then tripod headstand, we form a triangle with the crown of the head and the two hands. So it'd be the bit of your head where you'd balance a book that goes onto your mat, and make sure you're going far enough forwards that you can see your fingertips. You've got a nice broad triangle shape. Elbows stay pulling in towards my sides, and then tucking my toes, lifting my hips to the sky as I come into a half headstand with my feet on the floor. I'm going to walk my feet in towards my face, challenging the length of my hamstrings here so you can keep the knees bent. And then one knee at a time, see if I can bring the knees to the back of the triceps into our little egg headstand. Keeping those hips perhaps rolling slightly back to keep the weight back towards on top of the spine, and you can stay here, or if you're very confident and comfortable here and you know your movements, you can see if you can let those hips roll a little bit higher for your knees to leave the back of your triceps and come together into a little tuck, so you're no longer using the backs of the arms. Make sure you're safe and secure wherever you're practicing, and whatever inversion you're working on, see if you can come down with as much control as you went up.
That being said, I hope you went up with control. So for me, that's knees back onto my triceps and then stepping my feet back onto the mat as my knees drop down, and I can then lift my head.
So hopefully you're having some success with whatever variation, whatever inversion you're trying there, but do remember it's a practice. It's not a perfection every time you give it a go. So just giving it that little bit of practice, a little bit of consistency, and seeing if you can see some progress in your stability. Coming down into child's pose together, sitting to your heels, walking your hands away, letting your forehead rest onto the mat. Coming back to the shape where we started, do a full circle. Just allow your body to completely release here. Closing the eyes, softening the face, feeling the heart rate slow, allowing your breath to shallow, returning to a more normal pace and depth. If you'd rather take your Shavasana here, more traditionally on your back, then go ahead. But keeping your focus on the breathing, drawing the breath in, watching it inflate your lungs, and softly allowing it back out. And then walking your hands in, or sitting yourself tall, wherever it is that you're coming from. Knees can come a little close together, lifting your chest on top of your hips. With a final breath in, circle your arms wide, reaching them to the sky. And your final breath out to draw your hands to your belly and your chin to your chest. Good job, guys, and thank you for joining me as always this morning. Let me know in the comments how you got on, whether or not you liked it. If that was your first experience of power yoga, hopefully it was an enjoyable one. I'd love to hear from you. If you had success with your inversion, let me know. If you have any questions about anything, there's a chat box just down the side. Thank you to those who are supporting me through these crazy times with donations towards the classes. I really appreciate it. And if you feel able to do so, there's a link to my PayPal just below the video or beside it, one or the other. Hopefully you can join me again from the virtual class soon. There's Monday evenings at 6, Thursday evenings at 6, or this time again next week. So have a lovely day, a lovely week, and hope to see you back online again soon.